most people are terrified, and always, every generation is the same, of death. Eons ago, that was understood, and priesthoods formed to cast away demons that would take you off into the nether regions. Illness was also quite common. Child mortality, especially in the old empires, was awful because empires tended to have a rigid class or caste system where those at the bottom got the least of everything, nourishment-wise. And often even scientifically, they were given a particular type of diet which kept them able to work but not too bright. So offspring would suffer often in the early days or weeks after birth. The lifespan too of those below was often short too, because of the conditions they had to live in. In the old days, storms were caused by nature. You could have your house blown away. You could have natural catastrophes in the old days. Now they can cause it through science. And so shamans, miracle workers, priests became important to try and confirm humankind's ability to defeat all of the bad things which could happen in life. It was the collective belief that together you could defeat all of these ills. Unfortunately too, because everyone seeks something beyond it themselves which they suspect is there. The priesthoods who caught on to this and who understood it very well began to supply the answers which became dogma, which became the systems. And so while seeking the answers, you become imprisoned under the system to the benefit of those who rule it. Nothing new in that at all. It's interesting to note that even in ancient times, in different countries, people would come to those who'd left the civilizations of those periods to live on their own and think. Because it's very difficult to work your way out of the group mind, the collective mind, and the system which runs the group. It's very difficult to do that when you're in amongst them. So often people would go off on their own to try and find themselves and answers for themselves. And if they were at peace, people would understand that they had a peace which they wanted, and they'd want to find out how to attain that same peace. Which meant that those who'd gone off for peace and safety in the first place would go further and further away. Because that person obviously had done without a lot of the world's things to get that peace of mind. And the last thing he'd probably need is the world coming to him. And then there are the fakes who understand instinctively, intuitively what everyone's after. their fear of death, their need to believe in purpose. That part is true, you need purpose. But the charlatans would also clue into this and set themselves up as holy men and use the people for their own ends. It happens up to the present day. And it's allowable because you can't stop people from finding out for themselves. Meaning and purpose is very important to going on in life. Through all of its tragedies, upsets, heartaches, illnesses, deaths. And there's one thing we all have to accept, that in this life, at least for the majority of people, that death will come. You can't get out of this world alive, as they used to say. And no amount of money is going to alter that fact. Some people are terrified, literally to the day they die, of dying. Utterly terrified. Others will take it more calmly, especially, although rarely today, if they've had a fulfilled life. Fulfilled meaning they've worked their way through for themselves all of the problems, personal and otherwise, of the world. And it's so rare today, as I say, because in a short period, we've gone from a family-orientated society with extended family, where everyone had purpose, where elderly had wisdom to pass on to the younger, to a commercially driven society which cast out all of the other groups and concentrated on the young, because it's always the young you're shaping and managing into the next phase. You always go for the young and long-term goals, always. Nothing new in that either. Today it's more successful because the other parts of eliminating generational contact has been very successful. Something again written about by the revolutionaries back in the 1800s. It has been accomplished. And not only that, we don't have the reality of life because we don't experience the grandmother, the grandfather or great-grandfather living with the family who's dying. And that was common for everyone to help out, and the young saw what death was. It was more real to them. It made them mature much quicker and have more of a concept of the value of life. Today, everything is like the meat you buy in a grocery store. It's pre-packaged and shiny and very clean and hygienic looking. Well, death is the same way. Strangers take care of great uncle so-and-so or great aunt or granny or whatever in places called hospitals. And they take care of all the problems they go through, all the things which we don't want to see anymore, all the nasty little things, until they die. And so the children grow up just knowing so-and-so went to the hospital, died. Another professional takes over, the undertaker, and dresses them up, makes them look as though they're alive, and you might get a glimpse, and then he either goes up a chimney or else it's put in a vault. But it's all managed and taken care of. It's out of the family's hands. And all of the experiences of those who go through death and taking care of them are also outside of the family's hands. And not only that, in today's society, because they ensured that women would also work, and now you have the state rearing children from kindergarten onwards and day school and all this stuff. The children don't participate and see all of what goes in to leaving this world. And they don't have a conception of death or the value of life. If they had the understanding of the value of life, they would treat others around them differently.